Creative curiosity, what is it? As we go about our lives, be it at work or outside of work, we all have those moments of unexpected inspiration. Most often they appear randomly, even when we're not seeking to be inspired. Sometimes we take notice, but many times we ignore it, and that momentary thought, idea, word, or visual is soon forgotten. This presentation is about developing your creative curiosity by way of simple methods that will help you not only recognize these moments, but foster them, capture them, and facilitate you to move forward on them for personal growth and professional use. So that's the definition of creative curiosity, but the best way to kind of demonstrate it is to show you people who are doing it and show you work that is carrying that idea forward. Brian Nash Gill is a naturalist and an artist, and he kind of took that passion for nature and he implemented some creative curiosity to take actual wood from clear cutting. He's networked with a bunch of lumberjacks, and he gets these trees and he inks them up and he creates these really nice artistic prints with them. I thought that was a really unique way of combining creative curiosity with the passion you have, and the end result is some pretty cool artwork. But creative curiosity can come in many forms. It can be spontaneous. It can play off of something that already exists. It can be based off of your love for type or a name of the font. It can be based off a childhood game or another game and there's a chalkboard around. Street Fighter in this case. You can see things that really aren't there, such as a face on this check-in gate, or a face in a new logo. Or you can see a logo and see something that it's not supposed to be. Here's a road crew getting a little bit creative with their digging. And somebody who got creative with the road crew's cones. Some guy getting creative at a music shop. Somebody getting creative with a childhood toy. Or commuting to work. Maybe it's a hamburger dress, or a hamburger bed, or a hamburger cake, hamburger shoes, or maybe it's not a hamburger at all. That gets the same reaction everywhere. Here's a lady who decided to get a tattoo, but she made it a connect the dots pattern. And it creates a giraffe. I have no idea why she wanted a giraffe, but that's dedication to creativity right there. Fun, not fear. Now, this is an important part. I remember in 6th grade standing with 2 other kids looking at the playground during recess, and this kid by the name of Richie Carlson saying, "Do you realize this is the last recess we'll ever have?" And I remember that was like a really deep thought for 6th grade. And I remember thinking, wow, we're not going to be able to play anymore. And of course, that's not the case, but that thought did come into my mind. Well, for many adults, creativity is viewed in the same way. At some point in time, it came to an end. Creating is all about sharing, and when you share, you risk being judged by others. And it's this fear we need to overcome in order to move to a new level in our own creative pursuits. So we need to learn to replace fear with curiosity. And, you know, I like to say anyone can be creative. It's not limited to just creative and creative people. Everybody, it doesn't matter who it is, at some point in their life has been creative. And this is another person I want to share with you about. His name is Bob McKean. He was a creativity researcher and head of Stanford's design program. in the 60s and 70s. And he did a creativity test with his students. They would come in, he'd hand them all a piece of paper and a pen and say, okay, you got 1 minute, draw the person next to you. And then after they were done, they had to share their drawing with each other. And he said the one common trend he saw within these young adults is people kind of fearing sharing what they did because, oh, I don't want to show this to you, it sucks. You know, you've all been there. You've been had some project where that happened. And so that fear was what was hindering them to just being creative and just doing whatever. And it was a really interesting exercise. And as I was reading this, I was going, okay, I want to do that. I want to kind of share this story, but you know, is it really true? So I grabbed my wife and 2 daughters and sat them down, gave them a piece of paper, and then I said, okay, you got 1 minute, draw me. And my oldest daughter drew this. Not bad. My head's a little lopsided, but that's okay. My other daughter, Alyssa, my younger daughter, drew this. And I had to, you know, point out, what's the deal with the mole? You know. You know, of course, she thought that was funny, making Dad squirm, and she was laughing. You know, the kids loved it. They didn't worry about what I thought about it. And if I didn't like it, that was even better for them. Now, my wife, on the other hand, I said, okay, come on, give it up. And she's like, she kind of just hands it off to me, and I look at it, and this is what she did. Now, I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, first, where's my ears? You know, and I have no eyebrows. And then the more I looked at it, I go, I think you think I'm married to an African American. So it's like my wife was, you know, very hesitant about sharing it because she didn't want me to, well, do what I did, criticize it. Kids don't really care about that. But as kids get older, they lose it when they become adults. Many of you have probably held on to that in some respect, and that has a large part in why you do what you do for a living now. And kids, I like to call it the refrigerator effect. They want you to like their work. And I think in the same respect, doing creative things can be frowned upon by many peers growing up. Over time, most adults begin to look at creativity as being immature, novel, not serious enough. It's time to grow up and move on. And they usually never pursue the same childlike creativity again. So my purpose of doing this presentation is to get you to start thinking in these ways, to start pursuing these type of creative outlets, because as you're going to see a little bit later, you never know where it's going to lead, and it's going to facilitate your personal creativity, will facilitate your professional creativity. This is Jeff Pollard. Now, the reason why I want to show you Jeff is he's a really great graphic designer. You've probably seen some of his work. He did the Tiger Woods logo. You know, he also did the NFL Hall of Fame logo. Now, those are pretty manly logos, so Jeff also has a softer side. You know, he does cuddly stuff too. But I like to describe Jeff as if Dennis Leary was a graphic designer, it would be Jeff. And I used to do a podcast, and I had interviewed Jeff, and I had asked him the question, what do you think of computers as it relates to design? And this is what he had to say.
Look, if you're a horseshit designer, all the computer is going to do is make your horseshit come up faster.
And here's a logo to kind of go along with that. That's actually a logo he designed. But Jeff, that's kind of Jeff's attitude. And he's always cracking me up. But if it is a little hard to hear on this audio, it wasn't as loud, but he has a really good voice. And what Jeff has done is he's always wondered, and he's been curious about, well, it'd be fun to do voiceovers and stuff, but that fear factor of, well, you know, I don't want to fail, but he moved out into it, and he started doing it, and now he's doing voiceovers, a completely new kind of career for him along with design.